you were in the band at the time. But he says that he feels where everything went off the rails with Eddie was when Eddie opened 5150. He said because that felt like at that time he was left to his own devices and he could be locked in there. He tells a story about not even being able to get the tapes from for the 1984 album. He said he had a fight with Don Landy to get the tapes because those guys just locked themselves away and nobody knew what was going on. He physically couldn't even get in there. So he said that the whole thing was he built this. Once he built 5150, he said that's when things really. That's what the problems began.
Well, Eddie, he built his sanctuary there, and like you said, I mean that's totally true. He would lock himself up there. Him and Don Landy, we wouldn't see them for weeks at a time. They'd be in the studio. Who knows what was going on? But well, we kind of knew what was going on.
Yeah. Oh man, those were the days, man. It's so crazy. The thought of Eddie building his own little studio like that and making a record like 1984. That was a great record, man. I don't care what anybody says. When I heard here's Sammy Hagar saying this, right? When I heard fucking Jump on the radio, I went, holy shit. Man, like this is it. These guys have got a real pop hit, and they're not a pop band by any friggin' means, but it's like, it's so rare when a band is rowdy and is hard rock and edgy as Van Halen was to have a hit like that.
Sammy, when I first heard it, as a fan, I said, oh shit, but for a totally different reason. Yeah.
I know, but that's
and by the way,
I'm looking at it like,
but
we all wanted, all of us hard rockers, Ted Nugent, myself, and all these kind of guys, we wanted a frickin' pop hit, without copping out. And that was a damn good job of it right there. I don't care. Anybody, I'll argue any Van Halen fan to the ground on this one, man. That was brilliant.
But
and I'll tell you.
Go ahead, Mike.
I'll tell you,
that alone.
That's kind of like when Dave started getting a little put off because, originally when I remember we were in the studio and Ed, Al, and I were kind of jamming on the idea for Jump. And Dave, the first time he came in there and saw Eddie playing the piano and the synth and whatever, and he saw, whoa, wait, no.
Well, Templeman says in the book he was totally against it. To this day
he was against it too. Yeah, because they thought, Eddie, you're a guitar guy.
Yeah, he said to this day, Jump and I'll Wait. He can't. He knows it was a huge success, but he can't reconcile it. He's the same way with me as a fan. He's got a hard time with it, even though it was a huge success.
Yeah, the only way they were even on board when we did The Cradle Will Rock was because Ed played it through this little shitty Wurlitzer electric piano through a stack of Marshalls. And a lot of people didn't even think it sounded like a keyboard. They didn't think it was a keyboard.
I had no idea it was a keyboard. Yeah. I never, until I started reading interviews, and I had no idea that was a keyboard.
When I saw that Eddie, a genius guitar player, as good as he was, that he could play keyboards that well, to me, I was impressed. As a musician, I went, this cat is badass, man. This guy he's a real deep musician. It just changed my whole attitude about that band. We jumped, and like I said, it wasn't like it was my favorite song. I just knew that it was a smash. I just knew that thing was going to cross Van Halen over to a whole different thing. And up until that point, I felt competitive with them. I was out there. We're playing the same buildings. We'd both sell out, and there was like a competition kind of going on a little bit. In the earlier days of that, and we did shows together. Some of them stadium shows early on with Black Sabbath and Boston. And anyway, but a long story short, when Jump, that was it. I said, whoop, boom, game over. These guys have done hit the big time. And, I know the hardcore people, I read about it all the time and I hear about it all the time. But truthfully, that was a brilliant pop song.
Well, wait, I'm not heavy. Well, I won't keep you guys forever because I know Sammy's got to go watch the girls walk the dogs. But let me just this is fascinating to me. So Sammy loves it. I'm a hardcore fan, kid working in a record store. I'm like, oh my God, what just happened to my band? Michael, you're in the band when you first hear it and start recording it. Where did you sit on Jump?
I loved it because actually, because I was coming, from a musician standpoint, it was different. It was fresh and it was different than what we had been doing. And I guess maybe that's just, when a band's growing, or hopefully growing, that they're not doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I know that's, like you said, that Ted Templeman, what he didn't like when Ed built the studio, because when he built the studio, and first thing he did was put a big piano in there and whatever, and then that's when the music was starting to change from what we had been doing on previous records, where it was more just kind of raw, totally guitar oriented. But I liked it. I liked it myself because it was different. It was new and it was different.
And Sammy, it was one of the few songs.